Okay, we are doing a review on the Tartelette in Bloom palette today. So many of you have talked to me about this. This is the next installment in the Tartelette palettes from Tarte. If you've seen the first Tartelette palette, it's all matte, it's all neutrally shades, and this one is relatively similar, but they did throw in a couple of shimmery shades, so it does kind of switch it up a bit. In addition to that, the Tartelette in Bloom palette is much warmer, and you can even tell just looking at the packaging. This is the Tartelette palette, this is Tartelette in Bloom. The Tartelette palette has a lot of purples and cool toned colors, where the Tartelette in Bloom palette is much warmer. The packaging is identical. It's the exact same size, and it has, oh, I guess it's a little different. It's very metallic. They're both very metallic, but the Tartelette palette has more of a silvery metal, while this is much more gold. I would not have realized that unless I held them up right next to each other. So just like the original, this one has a gigantic mirror as well, which is really good. It's got a hinge, so it's going to be a really nice palette to travel with because it's very slim and it has everyday colors. So when you open it up, you get 12 eyeshadows, and the majority of them are matte, but this one does include 3 shimmery shades. Each of the eyeshadows does have the Tarte logo on it, but what I did notice is that the Tarte logo stays a lot better in the matte shades. I mean, I've had the Tartelette palette for like a year, and you can still see, I mean, you could see the indentation of the Tarte logo. I used this for the first time today, and the Tarte logo is gone on the shimmery one, but I mean, the logo is not really a big deal. I'm just mentioning it. Another thing to note, there are no duplicates. So none of the colors in the Tartelette in Bloom palette came in the Tartelette palette, which is a good thing in my book. Let's go through the eyeshadows. First shade up at the top is Charmer. This is by far the lightest shade here. This is a really pigmented, very light, whitish beige color. It's not quite white, it's more of an ivory. It blends really nicely and has really good pigmentation. The formula for the mattes in the Tartelette palettes are really nice, so it's not a bad thing that there's so many. It's never a bad thing when there's a lot of mattes. Jet Setter is the next eyeshadow. This is a cool toned taupey brown. Another matte, again, blends so nicely. Next shade is Rocker, and this is one of the 3 shimmery colors. Rocker is a very true taupe, has a little bit of a pinky undertone, and is quite shimmery. Beautiful color payoff though. Last for the top row is Smoke Show. This is a matte charcoal. Got a lot more gray tones, like very dark gray tones, and matte just, oh, it blends so nicely. It's so nice when you find mattes that just work, because sometimes you find ones that are like, no. Second row, the first color is Flower Child. Flower Child looks like my skin tone. It's actually a little cooler than my skin tone, but it's a very light beige. It's more like a mid-tone beige. I used this color today on the crease, and just to kind of blend out. I used it actually in the brow bone area, and then applied Charmer, the lightest color, on top, just because it just blended everything out so nicely. It worked really well to diffuse the situation on my lids. Next shade is Smarty Pants. This is a mid-tone, beigey, pinky, orangey kind of shade. I really am failing at this one. I'm like, what are you? The blendability though, I mean, I know I've mentioned this 8,000 times so far, but really, it's so nice. I like this shade because it reminds me like it's a Goldilocks shade, where it's like not too dark, not too light. It just works really well and would be a really good transitioning shade. Next is Firecracker, and Firecracker is another one of the shimmery shades. This is beautiful. So this is a chocolatey brown, and it has a little bit of a peachy shimmer to it. It's very interesting. The shimmer is just beautiful, and just like the rest, blends like a dream. Next we have Activist. Activist is quite a really dark color here. It's not as dark as Smoke Show, although I thought it was going to be. It's more like a really dark blackish brown. I have Activist, or no, I have Smoke Show in the crease a little bit, but Activist is also just kind of blended a little bit along the lash line. Last row, first color is Funny Girl. This is the last of the shimmery shades. I really liked this one because it's a super buttery color. It's a very shimmery ivory, golden ivory, and I love it. I have it on my lids right now, and I really liked the contrast it gave. I thought it was gonna be a bit more shimmery and frosty, which I kind of wish it was, because it's a little bit more subdued than I was expecting, but I do really like how it applied, how it looked. There's a little bit of me that wanted it to just be like a bam against those mattes, and it more blends with them. Sweetheart is a very cool toned pink. It's a matte, and it just, oh, it blends. The blending though, I mean, it's awesome. Then we have Rebel. Rebel reminds me of Indian clay, if that makes sense. It's just a very clay, warm, like a terracotta color, and it is also a matte. And then the last color is Leader. Leader is a burgundy, just a deep, deep reddish brown. I have burgundy. I have Leader on the lash line, lower lash line, and then blended out in the crease just a little bit. So I loved this look that I created with the Tartelette in Bloom palette. I loved how everything just blended so nicely. It was just like, I don't even know what the right word is to describe it. Everything just wanted to blend, everything wanted to work together, and it just, I mean, it turned out really well. I like it. I like the fact that, you know, when I first started applying my eyeshadow, it was originally going to be a really light neutral look, and then it was really easy because of the darker shades here to bring it that intensity and to bring it into more of like a sort of smoky look. So that's a cool thing about this palette, is that it really is well-rounded, and I really love that it has those darker reds. That's something you don't see very often in any palettes. Usually those are colors that kind of come out on their own, and these ones just are so creamy and so nice. So if you liked the Tartelette palette, or if you were bummed that the Tartelette palette was so cool toned, I totally recommend checking out Tartelette in Bloom. I don't really stick to warm or cool tones when it comes to eyeshadow. I kind of just wear everything, but I love this. I think that the colors blend, the mattes just are a dream to work with, and I really do like that they threw in some shimmery colors to kind of give a little bit of contrast, because I really like how Funny Girl looks on the lid when the rest of it is matte. So that's my review of the Tartelette in Bloom palette. You can get this from Tarte.com, Sephora, Ulta, all the regular places for $45. Beautiful, and they're all really gorgeous. Blendability is amazing, and it's really nice quality. So let me know what you think, if this is something you're going to pick up, or if there's another palette that has caught your eye, and I'll see you later.